I used to believe our love was unshakable, that nothing could break the bond Daniel and I shared. After all, we'd known each other since childhood. He was the boy who sat with me when my dog died. The one who passed me notes in school, who danced with me under string lights at our wedding reception in his father's backyard. We didn't just grow together, we were woven into each other's lives. But love doesn't always shout when it starts to fade. Sometimes it whispers. Sometimes it slips through the cracks while you're busy folding laundry and paying bills. After almost 10 years of marriage, something changed. Or maybe I did. Daniel began working longer hours, building a life for us. He said, a future. But the future always seemed just a little too far away. And I felt alone, not unloved, but unnoticed, like I had become part of the furniture in our house, functional, familiar, easy to overlook. At first, I told myself it was just a phase, that I was tired, that we were tired. But then, late one night, I posted a picture of myself. Nothing revealing, just a smile and a caption about insomnia. The likes came fast. So did the comments. Men I'd never met telling me I was beautiful, asking about my day, and I replied, at first out of boredom, then curiosity, then something else. Each message felt like a small sip of something forbidden and intoxicating, compliments I hadn't heard in years. Questions Daniel used to ask, about my dreams, my thoughts, my favorite songs. I told myself it was harmless, just talk, just attention, but deep down, I knew I was slipping, and I liked it. That scared me more than I wanted to admit. Still, I didn't stop. I kept going. I leaned into the feeling of being wanted, of being seen. And each day I did, I stepped 1 inch further from the man who had given me everything. His name was Adam. Or at least, that's what he called himself online. We met in a late-night comment thread about classic literature, of all things. He quoted The Great Gatsby, and I replied without thinking. That one message turned into a private chat. Then daily conversations. Then voice notes. I told myself it wasn't cheating. There was no touching, no kissing, just words. But words can be dangerous. Adam listened, or pretended to. He asked about the books I loved, my favorite memories from childhood, the things I never even told Daniel anymore because we were always too tired, too busy, too worn down. Adam told me I had a beautiful mind, that my voice sounded like summer, that if I were his, he'd never let me feel invisible. I knew I was crossing lines, but I kept going. I wanted to feel wanted again. And Daniel, bless him, was still working late, still coming home exhausted, still too drained to notice the glow on my face when a new message popped up on my phone. One night, Adam sent me a voice note that ended with, if you ever want more, you know where to find me. My heart slammed against my ribs. I played it again, twice. I deleted it. Then I stared at the blank space where it had been, wishing I could delete the guilt just as easily. Daniel came home that night with takeout and a tired smile. I kissed his cheek and told him I loved him. And I did. I do. But it didn't stop me from waking up at 2 a.m. and scrolling through old messages with Adam like they were pages from a novel I didn't want to end. I had everything I thought I wanted. A loyal husband, a stable home, a quiet life. But still, I craved something else, something reckless and stupid and dangerous. Something I couldn't name without choking on the shame. And still, I didn't stop. Daniel never changed. That's what hurts the most. While I was slipping into a digital fantasy, he was still here, loving me the only way he knew how, quietly, steadily, with tired eyes and aching hands. One afternoon, I found a folder on his desk. Inside were brochures, loan papers, and sketches, plans for a bookstore cafe. My dream. I had once mentioned it, years ago, after college, in passing. I didn't even think he remembered. But there it was, every detail, every scribble. He was working those long hours for me, saving up to build something he thought would make me happy. I sat there holding those papers, my stomach twisting into knots. I thought of Adam's messages, the flirtation, the voice notes, the secrets, and I wanted to scream at myself. How had I become this person? Daniel walked in minutes later, sweaty from a long shift, holding my favorite pastry from the cafe down the street. They were almost closed, he said, setting it down with a grin, but I got it. I kissed him, hard, and then I excused myself to the bathroom, locked the door, and cried until my throat burned. I could have confessed then, could have come clean, but I did in single quotes t. Instead, I buried the guilt under false smiles and longer hugs. I told myself I'd stop talking to Adam, that I'd delete everything, that it was over, but I didn't do that either. I muted the chats, but I didn't block him. I closed the door. But I left the key in the lock. Daniel would sometimes reach for me in bed and pause, confused by my flinch. "You okay?" he'd whisper. I'd nod. And I'd hate myself. We were still married in every visible way, but the real me, the part that should have been his, had wandered somewhere far away, and now, even I wasn't sure how to find my way back. It happened on a Tuesday. Daniel came home early, a rare surprise. He looked tired but hopeful, holding a small box of pastries and a single folded note. "You've been sad lately," he said, placing them on the kitchen table. "Thought I'd cheer you up." I smiled. Or tried to, but my hand shook as I reached for the coffee cups. That's when it happened. My phone buzzed. Once, then again. I hadn't silenced the notifications. Daniel glanced at it. Just a flick of his eyes, then a pause. I saw the change in his face before I even knew what he'd read. Not rage, not confusion, just this quiet, hollowed out look, like something inside him had cracked. He picked up the phone and stared at the screen. I reached for it, but it was too late. He scrolled one message, two, then dozens, my laughter, my late-night replies, Adam's voice notes. He didn't speak. He didn't yell. He just stood there, frozen. "Daniel," I whispered, voice barely audible. "I didn't mean." He set the phone down like it burned, walked to the bedroom. The closet door creaked open. A duffel bag thudded onto the bed. I followed him, heart racing. "Please, wait. Let me explain." He looked at me, really looked at me, for the first time in what felt like forever. His eyes weren't angry, just tired. So tired. "I thought we were building something," he said quietly. "I didn't know you were already tearing it down." He packed his shirts, a pair of jeans, and his toothbrush. Nothing else. Then, he walked out the door. I didn't chase him. I just stood there, surrounded by the life we had built, and racked, and listened to the sound of the front door closing behind the man who once knew everything about me.